Tell me a story, one where we're both wandering all over this room. Maybe I'll say what you're needing. You won't take back your pleading, and the sun will shine through. Tell me your story, one that keeps me falling asleep at your room. Maybe our hearts will stop mourning, 'cause tragedy's boring now that I've found you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever installment of the NobCast on YouTube Live. We, last season, uploaded these to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. But given your guys' appetite for live shows that we've been doing over the past few months and last season, we thought that we would relocate as a trial, as a test, to see whether you guys enjoy it here. Please give us some feedback, whether you're in the live chat or in the comment section. Let us know if you do enjoy it. The purpose of the NobCast, it's a great name, I know. It's a podcast with NobBins and Gasky, of course, who I'll introduce in a moment, it is a combination of Manchester City fan NobBins, hello, and Manchester United fan Gasky. We are friends IRL. In fact, Gasky was my first ever friend, and I'd better have been Gasky's first ever friend, otherwise there's going to be freaking fights going on. So the purpose of these podcasts is to allow City fans to have or get a view of an objective United fan on their club, and also vice versa. It's really interesting to hear about United through a City lens, I feel like, and also City through a United lens. And Gasky's quite reasonable and objective the majority of the time. So I'm excited, Gasky. Gasky, it's your first time on the YouTube channel, mate.
It is. You know, it's a different vibe, you know, people being able to see you rather than just hear you. So, see how we get on.
And sorry, there's just LB in the chat says, I'm jealous NobBins has an IRL friend. Absolutely crazy. Yes, indeed. But as I say, this is an experiment. If you don't like it, you'll never see Gasky's face ever again. But if you do enjoy it,
exactly,
then hopefully this can become a weekly occurrence. The main vibe of what we are after here is we're going to discuss all things City, of course, and all things United. We'll be touching on the game, but also any topics outside of the actual football pitch. So we need to talk about the reaction to Doku, for example, from a City fan perspective. Lots of controversy there. I'll be getting Gasky's thoughts on the Gundogan situation. I also want Gasky's thoughts, of course, on Ten Hag. And whether there was, it's only early days, but whether there was improvement on last season, etc., etc. There will also be a Q&A section at the end. So if you are a YouTube member or you are one of my supporters on Patreon, then you are welcome to have your questions answered, and we'll be reacting to any and all super chats throughout the season as we go as well. Gasky, immediately. Oh, sorry, before I speak to you, actually, Gasky, and if the chat wants any particular topics, we can maybe go to those as well if there's anything you're after in particular. But the first thing I'm after, Gasky, is Jeremy Doku, okay? I would look at... we've not spoken about this, either.
To be fair, we haven't spoken about the games at all, really.
No, we haven't.
So it's...
Did you watch my video analysing the game?
I watched it while I was working.
There we
Does
go.
That count?
That is the correct answer. Well done. Well done. Right. I want your thoughts on Jeremy Doku, Gasky. As I say, as someone who's got no awe in this race, because as I say, you are a Manchester United fan. What did you make of his performance against Chelsea? Because I say there's been a lot of derision in the City fan base. Some people thought he was shite. Some people thought that he was all right, and that does rhyme, and that was intentional. Gasky, shoot. What were your thoughts watching that game?
I think one of the biggest issues was how good Savio was as well. So I think that completely masked over, you know, how bad Doku was bad from when he was on the left side. You know, because I think you agree, his decision making.
The right side, you mean?
Yeah, the side that he started on. Yeah, sorry. His decision making isn't the best. You know, sometimes you think just cross it sooner or just lay it off. But Savio was that good that it probably highlighted more how poor Doku was. But as the game went on and they swapped wings, I felt he was good. He's definitely nowhere near the end product. He's very similar to how Sterling was at City at times, where he
Mm.
does frustrate you when you're watching. But I do think he's got an end product, and I do think he can potentially be a good player. It's very difficult to play for City nowadays. So I think there's a lot of overreaction. It's one game. You saw how good he was in his last competitive game in the FA Cup final
Hmm.
when he came on. So I don't see any reason just to overreact with it, to be honest. It's first game of the season. He was put out of position and he was overshadowed by a new player. So yeah, I think a bit of an overreaction, but I think he's a quality player.
Yeah, he was. What did you make of the fact that Doku started out on the right? Because Pep set us up, obviously, to have Savio left Doku right initially. And then he said in his post-match interview, I didn't realise this until the day after the game, he said that he didn't even tell Doku and Savio to swap wings. The players just did it themselves, which is telling in that they clearly, or Doku as much as anyone knows, that he was struggling out on that right side. That's just such a weird thing that the players just decided. I'll tell you what, guys, great if we did a cheeky little swap.
It's weird, but it's also good that the manager can trust them to do that, because clearly, I don't know who would have instigated it, but would it have been Doku saying to Savio, look, I'm really struggling here, let's swap and see how we get on? Or has Savio noticed and gone, I'd rather be on that side, you clearly don't want to be on that side, let's just swap? But it's such, because I remember all the days back in the day watching United under Fergie, they constantly swap wings, and each fullback wouldn't have a clue how to deal with each player. So it helps so much, and especially when they swap wings, I thought Savio was incredible. He's what Doku needs, that calmness on the ball, because he goes past players, but the player's completely gone out of the game. Like Cucurella didn't know how to deal with him,
No.
and whereas Doku can get around players, but sometimes can be a bit obvious every now and then. But Savio, I think there was one instance he did where I think he kind of megs Cucurella and he was on the floor, and he'd had a full 5-10 yards to run into. That's what Doku needs, that more calmness and not trying to rush the end product.
The composure.
Yeah, the composure.
No, yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. Like, I was really impressed with Savio, that the weight of pass in particular, he's even better than I actually thought he was, to be honest. I was really happy overall with Doku's performance, as I outlined in my video. Of course, there were some frustrating things, as you rightly pointed out. Just like some basic passes where he just needs to calm down, just be like, and just think about it a little bit more, I guess. But that will come with time. Again, he's only 22 years old. This is a really exciting player, and I think the majority of teams in the Premier League would love to have him at their club. I was just really surprised, as I say, at the almost vicious reaction from some people. It's like, it's the first game of the season. He's still a very young player, still clearly finding his way in this squad, because Pep was still convinced that he could be a right-sided player, and I'm surprised it hasn't quite worked out for him there. But he's still early in his development, early in this journey, whatever you want to say. So I did think it was a little bit overboard in that respect. So your conclusion then is that you thought Doku played well? Yeah?
Yeah, he played well. Maybe not on the right, but
no, sure. Well, he was only there for 10 minutes, to be fair.
No, yeah, exactly. They decided pretty quickly. But it's strange though that a player, he's right-footed, isn't he?
Yes.
That usually playing on the left of a right foot where you've got to cut in is more difficult, I would say, than just simply playing on the right-footed where you just cross it. Yeah,
byline cross.
Clearly, yeah, exactly. Clearly, he likes cutting in.
He does.
So putting him on the right, so he's cutting on in his weak foot, is pointless, really.
Yeah, it was very surprising, to be honest, how Cucurella had his number every time. But then, as you say, Savio went over there and absolutely rinsed him. That was quite funny, especially given the comments. The comments that Cucurella made. Do you see that in the summer from Cucurella?
You should have realised that playing for Chelsea is completely different from playing for Spain. Playing for Chelsea, you're crap. Let's be honest, you're crap, and you've got to deal with the unit that is Haaland in the middle, and he put him on. He sat him down. So
it was really fun. There was a moment as well, where Kukureya got like crampy like the last 5 minutes, and like he was rolling like, and I think he like went out to a hall and say, "Oh, can you help me with my basically going help me?" You know, like stretch my foot out, and Holland just laughed and walked past him.
He was interviewed, wasn't he? Holland was interviewed after the game, and he said he basically just said like. He's just been a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Yeah. Not in them words, but simple as that. He's just like
he basically went. He basically said he's a weird guy. He wanted my shirt last season. Now he's singing weird songs about me in the summer. I just thought that was really funny.
It's
so, yeah, it was really bizarre. So that's the wide player situation. And how did you feel like City just like and also you can touch on the performance in the Community Shield as well. Like City tend to start the season slowly. We all know this. You know, Pep normally gives them extended breaks, etc. I know it's very, very early on, Gasky, but I'm going to push you for a question. Are City title favourites? In your opinion, are they going to win the title? And or has a certain German potential signing influenced your decision making there?
I think whoever the holders will always be favourites in my eyes. They have to be because
you've got even Leicester in 2016, huh? Is that what you're saying?
You think you would. You think it'd be better than they were.
Chelsea.
That doesn't count. That was a weird one.
Sorry, I just wanted to call you an idiot. Carry on.
I think they're still favourites. I think it's still going to be a City Arsenal 2-horse race. I think I can't see like Liverpool haven't signed anyone. They need players, and other teams are still trying to get somewhere. So I think it's between them two again. You know, the only two teams that seem solid. Let's be fair. Support for Rodri with Gundogan coming in potentially. It like you said, it solidifies it because as good as I thought Kovacic was man of the match, he was very, very good.
Oh, he was lovely, wasn't he? He was a lovely boy.
But will you get that every week from him in that position? I don't think so.
How old is Kovacic?
You know, Rodri's not playing.
Let's get the live chat involved. Can the live chat please tell me how old is Kovacic? I believe he's 30 odd or something like that. He's 32, is he? I'm not sure. But you're absolutely right. You can't really do it all the time. So your conclusion then is City are title favourites?
I think so.
Are they going to win the title then?
Yeah, favourites.
Nice. No, I just wanted to hear you say it. I wanted to hear you say City win the title. Wonderful. So Arsenal...
We've got 37 game weeks to go. Anything can happen. What if Rodri's out till Christmas?
Oh, wow. He's only 30. 80... Right, okay. I said 81. He's only 30. Okay, so he's actually younger than I thought he was. Okay, I thought he was 31, 32 for some reason. Okay, fair enough. Fair. So he is actually a little bit younger than I thought. But I do still take your point that especially if we set up in a similar way to how we did against Chelsea, where Kovacic, wonderful job, but he had so much defensive work to do and so much covering work to do. It is
because they were holes at times, but Chelsea were just that shit that they couldn't put the ball in the net. So, you know, you can put holes there when you got Nicholas Jackson up front against you. So.
Indeed, yeah. So this is obviously a Manchester City United podcast, but we still need to talk about other teams in the context of the title race. So why not Arsenal? Why not? They've strengthened. They've brought in Calafiori. They've got Timber now. Bringing in Moreno.
I did say it was a 2-horse race.
But why is their horse being put down at the first hurdle?
Because their horse has already ran 2 races and it's shattered.
Oh.
You know, I would say if you keep running the same race over and over, are you going to get a different outcome eventually? With the other horse racing with you, who's just as quick.
Well, quicker.
It doesn't look like it's slowing down. Or quicker, yeah, the horse that's quicker, that doesn't look like it's going to slow down.
And last season had like a bust leg because Haaland was underperforming and De Bruyne was injured.
Yeah,
and
even that horse with a limp could still outdo this other horse. So
Arsenal's horse is inefficient. This stallion.
I think this stallion they've got is dodgy stallion.
It's a dodgy stallion.
Clearly. Got a big Arsenal badge on it.
Right, so there you go, our Arsenal fans. Gasky's cussing you out, saying that your stallion isn't built for these streets.
They're a fantastic team. But it's difficult to, unless I think they need to win the title based on what they're doing and what they're building is very good. But just finishing, it's like with Liverpool. Liverpool went through title races and they vanished for a bit and they came back, and eventually Klopp got them over the line. Arsenal need to do that. They need to get over the line. Otherwise, I think players will leave.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you need to win something, don't you? They're not winning other trophies. You know, that's what. Even if they don't win the title, they need to win something. Can't just not win anything.
Yeah. No, indeed. Well, I just
Like,
thinking...
would Saliba stay at Arsenal if they win nothing again? Would you want to?
It's a very, especially when you consider that Real Madrid, for example, are...
Real Madrid wants a centre back. They wanted
Indeed.
Euro. United took Euro, and if Saliba potentially thinks I might want to leave here, I'm pretty sure Real Madrid will come sniffing, and I don't think he'll say no to Madrid. So,
no, yes.
would you? And he's not like he's an Arsenal academy prospect. You know, he just plays for Arsenal, really. You know, they bought him, put him out on loan a few years, so he's not got allegiance to them. So, and what's he going to say at the end of his career if he stays at Arsenal for 8 years, wins 1 FA Cup? He was Arsenal fans. He was like this best centre back in the Premier League for so many years. He's not won anything.
Crazy.
So,
Gasky is cooking, Jack. Absolutely, Gasky's popping off here. We have to add like an anti-Arsenal section or something. This is crazy.
Gabriel's still shit as well.
All right, chill. This is supposed to be an objective podcast. What's going on? So that is City. Did anything else catch your eye in respect of the Chelsea game or even the game against United? I mean, Haaland scored a goal. You know, water is wet.
Did Edison have butter on his gloves? That's the only other thing. He kept dropping that ball. That was a really strange one.
It was poor, and considering that it's really frustrating whenever Edison does this, because as you know, Gasky, I'm a big Edison defender. I'm a big Edison fanboy, and I was defending him massively in the summer. You know, when he was like linked with a move away, and I was saying no, he's essential, we need him. But then he backs me by dropping stinkers like that, where he can't, as you say, he can't even catch or a relatively.
There was obviously the one that Jackson put in, but it was offside. But then there was one that he jumped in the middle of his goal, and it was like I thought we were going to drop it over his head. It just looked a bit dodgy.
Yeah, but I still think he's the guy. He's still the man for me. But it does frustrate me when I really back a player and then they just like put me in the shit like that. But apart from that, just think about the team. Rico Lewis, I spoke about him a lot on like my post match show. He was wonderful as well. Where do you see his like? I think this will be the last question, then we'll go into the United section maybe. Although, actually, I've got a further question for you, Ari, the striker situation, actually. Rico Lewis, when you watch him play, firstly, I'm assuming you're impressed because he's a good player. If not,
he's good.
You're a madman, yeah. Where is his long-term future at City? Because he's technically like a midfielder, but at the moment, he's like inverting from right back.
Yeah.
Can he be a right back long-term?
Yeah, if I was him, I would, looking at Kyle Walker, you could have, and looking at the rest of England as well, you could have that right back position. You know, England as well, because he's a great player. He's got that ability to play of modern football of inverting. You know, he's okay. These better players who going forward, better players defending, but he's good at everything. You know, you've got, if from an England perspective, what's Walker 33 now?
87, yeah.
Yeah, and all them families he's dealing with. You know, he's not got long left from an England perspective.
No, or a football perspective.
Yeah, as a football perspective. You know, Reece James is crippled. Trippier's old, so that England right back, he's got that as well. So I think committing to right back personally.
And then in that scenario, it would be Trent and Lewis, wouldn't it? As like the main right back options.
Yeah, exactly, and they can kind of both play midfield in a way if required.
Yeah, they're both very different players, good options to have. Yeah, I think Lewis does need to be escalated into the England senior squad. I think he is that good.
But you have to, from an England perspective, you have to think long term, and long term is Trent.
No, he's 19 years old. He's 19.
Is he still 19?
Yeah,
Jesus.
and he's this good.
Is he like his third year?
Like
with the seniors.
Yes, yeah. So he literally is the reason. Like Cancelo hates his guts. He's the reason why Cancelo got wormed out the team.
Is he going to be sold?
What, Cancelo?
Yeah, because isn't he still technically? He's at City still, isn't he now?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's not. So Gundogan is apparently coming to City, which is very, very, very exciting. I did a whole show about it earlier today. And allegedly, I thought that maybe there could be like a bargaining chip situation of, we know you want Cancelo, so
But
could we?
I read that they're getting rid of Gundogan because they can't even get Danny Elmo on the books.
Well, yeah,
so that wouldn't make sense.
I think that might be the case. And also, I saw another rumor. Again, it's a rumor, but that apparently it was like a sport or something. Barcelona were concerned about Cancelo's attitude problem, and he apparently didn't get on well with young players. Oh, where have I seen that before? Is that literally what happened at City? So it's like you'd think. I would like to think, because Cancelo, when he's playing and when he's playing well, it sounds like a super thing. He is on at this moment in time, he's one of those on his day players. But genuinely, he was so good for City. It's just such a shame he's got such a clear attitude problem, because you look at
an ego.
Yeah, when you look at the clubs he's played for, Bayern, and Barca, and City, and Inter, and a Juve as well, I think. Yeah, massive clubs, but none of them want him. Now, there's clearly a trend there of, well, you've got all the talents, you're clearly a good player, but ultimately, if every single one of those clubs is saying, nah, not interested, that's a you problem, my guy. So I hope he's sold.
Funnily enough, that's my only obviously we move to United soon, but that's my only thing, my concern with De Ligt.
Attitude, okay. Interesting.
No, he's played for so many big clubs. Why would he easily leave? That's my only thing. Obviously, nothing comes out with like Cancelo, where attitude problems. Nothing said about De Ligt's attitude or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But why can't a big team hold him down? Maybe it's just like, maybe he likes traveling the world.
I'm the one go hold you down. I'm the one go hold you down. No. Do you know that song? Chris Brown?
Not a clue.
The wife beater? No? Okay. Never mind. Last, very final thing on City, and then I want to get your thoughts on United Gasky, and then we will do viewer questions as well. We're apparently also targeting a striker, in addition to Gundogan coming in. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's needed.
Okay, interesting. Because I think the opposite. Go on.
Do you rely on Haaland staying fit for 38 game weeks? Because City are a different team without Haaland there in terms of an out striker. Because it was last season. Obviously he had Alvarez.
Yes.
Who was he was hit and miss last season, but he's still a good player. What do you do if Haaland's not fit? Who plays cup games, for example?
Well, in my brain currently, I was going to suggest we go back to a false nine system. So for those games where Haaland's not available, so because we've got Gundogan who can play there, Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Oscar, and he's broken his leg now, but Oscar Bob can also do it. I think there's a question mark of even Savio could do that. I just personally like the idea of having an alternative system where Haaland's not available, or maybe even like Haaland is available, but maybe for a game you just throw a spanner in the works. You go, well, actually, guys, we're going to play with Oscar Bob as our 9 today, sort of thing. But you think we do need that striker then?
I do. I think it's always good to have 2, because what if Haaland gets injured and your false 9 system doesn't work? You're stuck with your false 9 system. You even if it doesn't have to be like an all singing or dancing striker, you just think of someone who is going to just be your stopgap.
Right. Here's a game. You have
to name a striker. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say, because these are the parameters, and LB came up with a perfect name. You have to pick a striker who is old, so in like a veteran. So like, because there's no point in bringing in a young player, because you'll have an Alvarez, Gabriel Jesus situation. There's no point bringing in someone who is, like in their absolute prime and pomp, because are they going to be happy sitting on the bench? No, you need to bring in a veteran, someone who's like 33 years or older.
I actually have a name in my head, but sadly, he's already transferred.
Okay, so who would you have suggested?
I would have maybe, based on as well the summer and based on how good he was last season, Fulkrug maybe.
Oh, how old's he though? Is he old?
He's in like his 30s. He's early 30s, I'm sure.
Is he? Let's have a look.
And he was bargaining as well. And sitting on the bench of City, I think he'd happily do that.
He's 31 years old, so that is actually a really fun shout, to be honest.
So I thought he, similar kind of build to Haaland, and you can play this similar way.
That's a fun shout. I know that people have been suggesting players like Antoine Griezmann. I think that'll be a bit too big of a name.
Again, that's a you're paying a fortune.
Yeah, exactly. For someone who really you only want for like a season or two. The really fun suggestion, as I said, that LB came out with was Edin Dzeko. He's still going.
Oh yeah, why not?
He's 38.
He's Fenerbahce.
Yeah, he's at Fenerbahce.
He's 38.
He joined last season on a free. He's 38 years old. I think his contract expires this season, or next season rather, next year.
Yeah.
If we're as we discussed, if we're bringing Gundogan back home,
that one's a bit mental.
Wouldn't that be fun though?
But Jesus, you would just like let's have a little retirement party before you all retire.
If the point is right, bar an injury, and Haaland isn't injury prone either, so Haaland's going to start at least 32 games in the league, right? So it's like, right, you'll maybe start 5 games in the league, mate, and you'll start a couple of dead rubbers in the Champions League and some early stage Carabao Cup and FA Cup games. You don't need a quality guy. You just need someone who can do a job, is going to be good vibes, and I know it's not going to happen, but I think that'll be really funny.
I have another perfect player.
Oh, tell me more.
He's still at Burnley. Vegas. he can play for both Manchester clubs. He could be that next pub quiz.
Oh my god, yeah. Who's that? That's a great question. Who was the last player to play for both clubs? Was it Owen Hargreaves? Who? Sorry,
Tevez and Owen Hargreaves.
Yeah, who was?
And then
Hargreaves?
There was Kanchelskis years ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. Then Tevez would be, because Tevez outstayed Hargreaves, didn't he? So Tevez left in 2013, I think. I don't think there's been another one since.
He was at United for 2 years, 2008 to 2010. And Hargreaves left after we won the Champions League.
Hargreaves was only here for a season, like in 11-12, I think.
Yeah.
It's
a couple of years.
There we go. So he could be the next. He could be the evolution after Carlos Tevez at Weghorst.
One a decade.
One a decade, exactly. Brilliant stuff. Yeah. So that is the Man City situation. Let's now pivot to Manchester United. And as I say, my channel is obviously mainly Man City viewers, but do stick around because, as I say, I personally think it's really important to speak to rival fans and get their perspective, not only on your club, but also their own club. And also, if United do bad, then we can poke fun at Gasky. We can outnumber him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I can, because I'm pretty sure their seasonally battering will happen at some point. You can have fun.
Yeah, I did a lot of that last season. To be honest, I did a lot of. I did a lot of poking fun at Gasky. Right now, the title of this stream is United's destined for failure, which is a pretty hyperbolic statement. The reason why I labelled that stream as such is as follows, and you can defend your club, Gasky. You looked very, very similar in terms of how you set up compared to last season. Now, it's only one game in fairness. I thought you played well in the Community Shield. In fact, I'd say you maybe edged it, in fairness. But there were a lot of parallels between... who was it you started the season last season? Was it Wolves?
Brighton, they lost to Brighton. Oh, sorry, they beat Wolves 1-0. It was exactly the same match.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of parallels have been drawn between... That Wolves game where let's be real, United got away with one, and this Fulham game where late winner, good finish to be fair. We'll have positive conversations on Xerxes because I like the look of him. But let's touch on the negatives first, and let's move into the positives, shall we?
Yeah.
Why?
Ten Hag clearly wants to play this style, but my argument is still the midfield can't do it. You can't have a midfield of Mainu and Casemiro and play so suicidal because they don't have the legs to do it. Having Martinez back clearly helps because he is legs.
His legs.
He's the quick.
He is stumpy legs.
He had a season, midget legs, and he has, obviously having. A centre-back partnership with Maguire and Evans so many times last season, and so many centre-back partnerships, you don't have legs, and you're getting your team to still play a way where you do need a lot of energy and pace, and you're playing it with a 37-year-old centre-back. It's gonna end in tears most of the time, especially against teams where you do push them into a low block, you're pushing them back. Eventually, they're going to break. And I think it was like 3 instances where they broke. And I think one of them, Martinez had to clear off the line, and these instances will happen when you're playing this way. And this is why he is trying to sign Ugarte from PSG, just pure energy. That's what's needed. You look at how City play. They play with very attack-minded players, but they have so much energy. Like Bernardo Silva can run for 90 minutes. He's not a defensive player, but because he's always there and getting in the way, it's not an issue. And that's the big thing I think they lack because there was instances in that game where they were much better with like the fluid on the ball in the box and stuff, creating miles more chances.
Mhm.
There's so many games last season when expected goals and all that was so low, they didn't offer anything. But they completely outplayed him in that perspective. Fulham.
I think last season, in terms of the expected points table, I think you were like lower mid-table. It was like really bad. I think you were like 12th or sort of 14th maybe.
Yeah, and that was mostly down to they couldn't create anything.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting positions, but they weren't creating anything. This game was a clear example of it could have been 5-0 to United. It could have been 2-0 to Fulham. It could have been one or the other. And they need to get
a basketball game, you might say.
Exactly. They need to get a grasp on either you put the ball in the bloody net and go 3-0 up so you can rest players. Simple as that. They need, and I think getting a midfielder in, like Ugarte, with just a bit of energy, putting a foot in, would be perfect. I mean, that will help a lot of the situation.
So let's say you sign Ugarte. Sorry to cut you off there, because I actually thought Casemiro looked all right. Suspect defensively, but when further up the pitch, I actually thought he looked all right. So question mark, is he even a 6 anymore? Do you want to make him an 8 nowadays? Let's say you sign Ugarte or another mystery player. What is Gasky's preferred midfield situation? What's your ideal?
This is where it gets difficult.
You're playing what's your bread and butter midfield on its day? This is what I want to go into battle with.
On its day, I would say Ugarte, Mainu, and Bruno.
So Casemiro is axed.
I would say from a long-term perspective as well, because the way they play, I don't think your big, bulky defensive midfielder is going to work. Especially, someone who's, how old Casemiro is now, 33, 34. I just don't think it's a long-term solution. He wasn't bad. He works well when you're setting up camp in their half and you just need to grab the ball and play it and build up again. But when you're in a game that's going to go so end-to-end, when you're having your fullbacks go so high, he isn't the solution.
No, and no room for Mason Mount either, like one of your star signings last season.
He's a again, I thought it was an odd one when they signed him, but again, he's a perfect squad player as well. He's the legs. If needed, you need another body in the midfield. You could take off a winger potentially and have 4 players in midfield, more legs there.
I've just realised
you need a squad. You need a squad to win the leagues and win.
No room for McSauce in that starting midfield.
You should have sold him ages ago. You know my opinion on him. He marks grass. He can get out.
Marks grass.
I'll always say that because he does.
I love that. Just on that midfield, I'm now going to turn one of your issues against Arsenal against you, Gasky. Okay, you said earlier that if Arsenal don't start winning significant silverware, we're not talking about FA Cups and League Cups. We're talking about the Champions League. We're talking about Premier League titles, etc. That Real Madrid could come in for Saliba, a step up club. I'm going to suggest, what if United are in a similar predicament over the next 5 years? I'm looking at a Kobbie Mainu, who is clearly destined for the top. How concerned would you be then that Mainu would be a player who could be scooped up by, like a Bayern Munich level of club or a Real Madrid level of club? How concerning is it for you that you need to start winning?
Very, very concerning. It would be very concerning to have such a talent that could potentially become wasted because they can't build the team properly and have the right structure, And teams will come in for these players. Again, the only argument I have against what I said about Arsenal before is he is an academy prospect.
Sure.
So you sometimes it is a bit different.
You're thinking sentimental reasons he'll stick around.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, no matter what, United still are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think from a fan's perspective, you do look at the mentality of if you're not winning anything, why would you stay at that team? Which I think is correct. But a lot of the time, I think for players coming through, they won't leave because it's like I'm playing for the club I always wanted to play for.
Mhm.
You know, for example, if City completely went off the rails and won nothing for 5 years, you might say something about Foden, but then he might stay because he is an academy prospect. But yeah, there will be a concern because if he's that good, so why wouldn't anyone be interested in wanting to sign him?
No, absolutely. So that's the midfield situation. Let's go on to. You touched on Ten Hag. I feel like throughout the course of the season, it's far too early for me to say, what you thought. Ten Hag in or out. I feel like we've got to be fair under new ownership. Give him a bit of time. Do you concur?
Yeah, I'm not going to have an opinion on the managerial situation until I see lineups consistently with the players he signed now.
Sure.
Because he will have a back four now that's completely hit. Well, three out of four players will be his.
Yeah.
Because I thought Mazraoui was brilliant, so he's got to
agree.
start right back. He was very, very good, and just the speed he plays the game at. Delo's messing about with the ball on left back, and he's just building up play, and even winning the ball back in their half and things. So him, De Ligt and Martinez is four out of five of the back five with Onana as well. His.
Yeah.
So there's no arguments there. Okay, left back is a bit of a dodgy one because you're having to shove players there because Shaw can't stay fit. So question marks on why he wouldn't try and get a left back.
Where is Malacia?
That's a real question. What has happened to him?
Was he even a real footballer?
How would you have a random injury that no one knows about? It should be in the media what he's got, but it's not.
Yeah, because he has signed.
He's been at kit. He's been at the kit pictures in the new kit. He's been at training.
Yeah.
He's not ready, apparently.
He's not ready yet. Yeah, because you are right. He signed a goalkeeper. I think he signed 5 defenders. He signed 3 midfielders, and he signed 3 forwards. He has signed a starting 11.
He signed a starting 11. So my only defense I would give is United had absolutely nothing when he came in. Like not even like a squad. Like
there are a couple good individuals, but
even if you stand in 11, sometimes you've got to realize that then players are not going to start. They are going to be squad players. Like Mount, for example, I think will eventually be a squad player. Yeah. But like you say, he's got, he's brought through, in 2 years, he's brought through Garnacho Mino. He's brought through 2 youth players who could start every game.
Ahmad as well. I think he's brilliant.
Ahmad as well. He looks pretty decent as well. And they all deserve that chance. And he's brought in, so I want to see a consistent lineup now without the injuries. Like last season, I say a lot of unluckiness with the injuries. But again, if it happens again this season, then you have to talk about the club. You can't talk about anything else because no one has the same issue. Lightning doesn't strike twice, in them situations. So, but yeah, like you say, there is going to be a full lineup this season. That is going to be his if they bring in another midfielder. The Casemiro signing, I do think was a club signing. I don't think it was him. Pushes more. I do think that with Yoro as well. I think that was a club signing as well.
Who, sorry?
80. I think Yoro was a club signing as well.
Oh, right,
within the new management. I think that's a long-term solution for whoever's in charge. So there is club signings there, and there's also mostly his. So he's got. There's no excuse this season once he's got that. Once that full team's out. Yeah, once that full team's out, that's his team then. And if they don't play well, he's got to go. Simple as that.
Yes, I'll be getting Gasky's thoughts on that as the season progresses. Let's before we go into viewer questions, though, those are very promising performance. Zergsy. Now, actually, no, I don't want to ask you about that because one of the viewer questions is actually about that. So that actually might be a really good pivot into our viewer questions, unless there's anything you wanted to add, Gasky, about United's week/game.
One more thing to add, and I'm still sticking with what I said last season. Cash in on Rashford. I'm still sticking by it because you can't play such an aggressive way and a high tempo way when you've got him on the wing because he isn't. He doesn't run. He doesn't put that same level of effort in.
Gasky is a Rashford hater.
You will get. It's more because a lot of this talk on they can't afford this. They need to sell to buy. You've got a player there you could get 50, 60 million for.
I think you're underselling him there. I think that a club like PSG, I think you're probably looking at over 100, aren't you? Whether his worth is irrelevant, I reckon you could get triple digit millions.
Yeah, I think I'm probably being a bit more of what is he worth. But yeah, you could probably get Yeah, you probably get naught. You probably get naught.
That was such like a little subtle dig. It's like, I reckon you could get around £50 million for him. It's like,
No, yeah, because I'm being fair. I'm being like, look, I in my head, I'm like, he's not worth anything more than that. But like you said, he probably would get 80, wouldn't you? 80 to 100, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you keep, there's all this thing about they need to sell to buy. Sell him. They've got wingers, and you can bring in players. There's going to be players you can bring in that will put more effort than him in. Simple as that. I've got I know he loves the club, and I've got no issue with him. It's more Ralph. If I look from an outside in, if the club need money for transfers from a long-term solution, the money's there. Simple as that.
Interesting. I've just noticed something. You know, you've got a catchphrase.
I've got a catchphrase. What's my catchphrase?
Have you been able to figure out what it is?
No.
Chat, can you figure out what Gasky's catchphrase is? I've just noticed it then. Let me know in the chat, and we'll see if you can...
Is it something that I keep saying?
Maybe.
I forgot.
We'll see if the chat can figure it out. If not, I will reveal it, because as I say, I think it's like the 5th time you've said it now. It's not an issue. It's just really, it's just I just noticed it. I say loads of bullshit as well, obviously. Right. Before we move on to viewer questions, final thing: where are United finishing this season in the Premier League?
Head or heart?
Both. I want head first and then heart.
My head says 4th.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
That high? Your head is that high?
I have confidence in them.
What's your heart going to be then? Hello?
My heart thinks they'll be in about the title race potentially. Obviously, you want your heart to be really high up.
Yeah, but you've also got to have a realistic heart, haven't you?
That is realistic.
Okay. I thought you were going to say head says like sixth, heart says fifth.
When I say like head says 4th, I mean like it could be a situation where there's like 3 or 4 teams fighting for 4th place. You know, but I do think they'll get Champions League football.
No, I tell you what, I respect that and I rate that.
I do think they will.
I absolutely rate that. Fair play, man. No,
I just think there's a good vibe at the moment with the change of structure.
Yeah,
and the fact, another example is the whole Sander Berg deal with Fulham. Burnley have tried to pull United's pants down with United tax, and they've said no. And that's a clear example of where the club's going. So
yeah. I think 4th is your maximum personally for me. I think if I was a United fan, I'd be saying, right, we're nowhere near.
Champions League's the target. Champions League's the target.
Yeah, and that might be 5th to be fair, mightn't it? Depending on how the seasons go. I don't quite know how it works. Yeah.
This new Champions League shitty structure.
Yeah, exactly. I don't quite know how it works.
There's no draw for that, you know. Sorry to go on a tangent, but there's no draw, you know. They pick a team out of a hat and a computer does the fixtures.
That's boring.
You lose that excitement as well.
That was exciting, yeah, exactly. Well, that's upsetting. Yeah, I think that for me, I think you could. Because the thing with United is you could be anyway. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if United finished 4th. I wouldn't be surprised if United finished 8th. Like this is like the weird.
That's the struggle.
Situation.
They could. Well, you look at Ten Hag's first season. You looked at the first couple of games and you thought, these are crap, and then. Was it Liverpool? I think it was. And then they went on a crazy run. They beat Liverpool and Arsenal. They went on a mental run for till Christmas. You just don't know. It's so hard to tell.
Absolutely. We're now going to move on to viewer questions, guys. So happy to see you guys have been enjoying the podcast. Please make sure to leave a like on the YouTube video to let us know that you are enjoying it. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the live chat. Would you like to see this show every single week? It will either be on a Tuesday early afternoon or a Tuesday evening, depending on Gasky's work schedule. Do let us. If you don't like it, we won't do it again. But if you do like it, let us know. By the way, Gasky's I've forgotten what. There's a term used when someone says something repeatedly. Simple as that is your Gasky-ism. You always say simple as that. That's how you normally round off a point. Right, yeah, you go. Simple as that. Simple as that. You know, United need a new manager. Simple as that. He's not good enough. Simple as that.
Tell you what, it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
No, it's not. It's not bad. It's just like the way that you normally. It's like
it was going to be something really
it's like your full stop It's like this is how I'm going to round off this sentence.
I can't say full stop. Can I? That'd be stupid.
This is the podcast that we are doing right now, and we might upload it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. But it will certainly be here. We'll see how we go on that. As I say, we're now going to answer viewer questions. Now, guys, there are 3 ways in which people can ask us questions for the end sections of the podcast if you want to get involved and also help support the podcast. You can become a YouTube member. You can either super chat or you can become a Patreon member at the NobCast Ultra tier. I believe it's £2.50 a month. If you would like to support. You don't have to. If you're just happy to sit back and chill out and watch, you can also do that. But we do have some questions submitted by our Patreon supporters. And I say if there's any members in the chat now who wants to get involved, or if there's anyone who wants to super chat now for their question to be asked, feel free. But there's quite a few for Gasky here, because I'm not popular, obviously. Everyone wants to hear what Gasky's got to say.
You're always going live. You don't get to see me that often.
This is a question about the football. This is why I didn't go into depth for Ari, the Rashford situation, Xerxes. Gasky's thoughts on Amad/Garnacho/Rashford dilemma, i.e., which winger do you drop when Xerxes/Højlund is fit? Because obviously you didn't start with 3. You didn't start with a striker. So, who is your go-to wing pairing? We know how much of a fan you are with Marcus Rashford.
Well, I think we know who's going to get dropped. I think Xerxes and Højlund, 2 different styles, so I think it will depend on who you're playing and whatnot. The wingers, Garnacho and Amad, I would go.
So Garnacho on the left, is that?
Amad, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Amad on the right.
And then Amad on the right. I think Amad has earned a game, some chances.
He's clearly better than Anthony. Clearly better.
Against Fulham, he weren't great, but Community Shield, I thought he was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I think those 2. That will be my front 3, I think, with Højlund. And then, depending on the situation, I think Xerxes' just movement is just fantastic. The way he'll drop deep and arrive late. I think that'll start clicking. And then I think he'll start scoring plenty of goals. I thought his goal was brilliant as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like Amad on the right. I'm not quite a Rashford. I don't dislike Rashford as much as you. I think that.
All right, let's just get this straight. I don't hate the guy.
No, I just think. Yeah, of course, he's a wonderful human being. We're not talking about him as a person.
From a football. But I mean from a football perspective. I don't like
get
him out, for God's sake. I'm just thinking more of he has good things that he offers. He does, but it is just too hit and miss.
May I propose a solution or a thing? I think Rashford is basically a striker on the left, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think that last season we saw he struggled when he had Højlund with him, a striker, a 9. Whereas the season before...
Yeah, he suits more with Xerxes on the pitch, I would say.
Exactly. Whereas with Weghorst, a more selfless striker, you might say, he was able to connect with him really well. So could the solution just be Rashford when Xerxes plays, Garnacho when Højlund plays?
Maybe. Slash Amad, yeah. I would say so, just because with a player like Xerxes arriving late, your strikers are your wingers. Very similar to Liverpool with Firmino. That's how I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really good, because Xerxes is clearly not a striker, is he? He's more of a, as you say, like a Firmino type player.
He's a bloody unit, isn't he, as well? Don't know how big he was.
Yeah, and even before the goal, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be fun, and indeed he was.
Yeah.
Kante, not N'Golo Kante, one of our supporters called Kante, asks, how is Gasky coping with the summer, and has he run out of sun cream yet? Do you wear sun cream in England, Gasky? No, does your little head not get burnt?
I risk it sometimes.
Does your little head not get burnt?
My little ball patches here get burnt.
So why don't you protect them with sun cream?
Because
are you a masochist or what?
English weather. I just treat it not as bad as I should.
Right.
Even though it's like 25 degrees, it's hot. I should put cream on.
Because the sun doesn't count in England, does it? The UV rays, they don't exist in England.
They turn it down a bit in England.
And then Oren asks, if you were to have a WWE match with any footballer, who would you choose and what would the stipulation be? A WWE match with any and the chat can get involved with that as well, actually. I want to throw it to the chat as well. I'll repeat the question. If you were to have a WWE match with any footballer, who would you choose and what would the stipulation be? I want Gasky's thoughts now. Again, I want the chat involved as well. Gasky, what are your immediate thoughts there? Great question.
This is difficult.
Mm.
Am I having one as in? Can I pick someone who I think I could potentially beat?
Well, it's a WWE match, so it's scripted.
Oh, fair point.
Because it's not UFC, so
fair point.
It's more about the artistry and like who would you like to work with?
I think it'll be a Rashford, wouldn't it?
Oh God, Gasky has split Rashford in half.
He's pressing him more than Rashford does.
Oh my God. Yeah, so stipulations might be like no holds barred. Yeah. It might be first blood. It might be hell in a cell, steel cage.
First to cover left back. It'd be me, not Rashford. Well, yeah. Let's. I'm trying to think of an interesting one.
You've got to have an entertainer. So for me, it would be like Morpay or it would be Jamie Vardy, and because it can't be someone boring, like Elise or whatever. Like it's got to be someone who's a personality and really fun and can put on a show to make an entertaining match. I reckon that I would pile drive Morpay in a Hell in a Cell match, and I throw him off the cage into the tables, and it crashes. And the humanity! That's what would happen.
That's a good one.
That's my suggestion.
I'm trying to think of what would. I would love Cucurella in a Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
And I can just pull him by the hair when he's at the top of the ladders and just slam him on the ground. Eat that paella.
That's really good. I like that. That's a great answer. Timmy with a great suggestion here. Balotelli, no fireworks allowed. It's just, I guess you could invent your own stipulation, to be fair. Balotelli in like but the ring is covered in grass, which he's allergic to, because Balotelli once got an allergy to grass.
And before you fight, you have to put a bib on before you get in the ring.
So it's like an obstacle course sort of thing.
Yeah, start the fight. The fight will never happen because you'll never get that bloody bib on, but...
Sure. No. Very good. Well, guys,
good questions.
We really hope you have enjoyed this first installment of the YouTube Live NobCast. At some point, we had over 100 people watching, which is brilliant for the first ever installment of this. That's really fantastic to see. For future podcasts, if you want to get involved in the Q&A, again, all you need to do is become a YouTube member or leave a super chat or whatever, or sign up to the Patreon in the podcast tier, and you'll be able to take part. Once again, let us know if you enjoyed the show. Should we come back next week? Did you enjoy hearing Gasky? Or shall I just sack him off and, just replicate myself?
You can't do it on your own.
You're saying that? I can do anything, mate.
Go on then.
I'll just have myself off.
I think we got the next WWE match. Does it involve a footballer?
The NobCast Rumble. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching and all your support as always. I've been Nobbins.
I've been Gasky.
And we'll catch you guys next week, if you enjoyed it. Let us know in the chat.